Fiona Simson, welcome back to the farm.
Thanks very much.
National Farmers Congress here in Canberra. The Newgate review into the future of the farm sector representation has just been released on an unwary public. What's New South Wales farmers' immediate response to the report and the implications?
Look, I think it's an incredibly exciting time for agricultural representation. We now have the opportunity to start a conversation that will help our agricultural representation evolve into a better model for the future. Even though the burden is a little bit heavy for us representatives at the moment, this is something that has happened numerous times since Federation, where people have had a look at the way that they are advocating for agricultural policy and evolved into a better way for the future, and that's what this will offer. It will pose, if we accept some sort of a unified model as the report is recommending, it will pose some huge changes for New South Wales farmers as it is now, plus the other state farming organisations, plus commodity representation, plus NFF actually as well. So a lot of change for everybody. Everybody could be seen, I suppose, to lose in one way with the change in their structures, but by the same token, everybody wins as well, and that's the way that I would prefer to look at it.
Big task. It's going to take some time to achieve. How many farmer representative bodies are there actually at work today in Australia?
Oh, I think there's well over 80. And hugely diverse. We are a hugely diverse industry. And what the report actually tells us is that as well as being diverse, we are very fragmented. So we have a number of different bodies that cost us a lot of money to run. They all have their own structures, they all have their own administration structures and people structures. And of course they all have their own things that they advocate to government on. So government hears from farmers and farming industry and agricultural industry from so many people that the report says that there is often not a clear direction and a single unified voice that government hears. And I guess how that has translated for us farmers is that we are lacking in a lot of really good government policy on both a state level and a federal level to bring up farm gate returns for farmers and to ensure that farmers can operate in a really profitable and competitive environment.
How much pushback are we going to get among what are very conservative bodies to this horrible prospect of change and new ideas and new thinking and new communications?
Oh look, I'm sure there will be some nervousness around. I think there always is when proposing evolution and revolution on the scale that is being proposed by the Newgate Review. However, we can't shut our eyes to it. Whilst there is a lot of discussions to be had, a lot of conversations to be had about where we actually end up if we become unified, the one thing that is absolutely certain that the Newgate report points out is that what we have is not sustainable. It was actually probably not sustainable some time ago. But as well as reaching its best before date, it's actually now almost reaching its use by date, and we do need to act reasonably urgently. So we need to start the conversation, and by coming in at this good stage now, this early stage, we have the opportunity to drive the model and to make the model into something that will suit everybody, all 80 odd farmer representation groups, but more importantly I think, the farmers on the ground. It's very important that the farmers on the ground actually have a direct connection to the group that represents them. And that's something that the report found. At the moment, because of the way that we actually are a federation and we're a member of NFF, the farmers on the ground aren't seeing that connection. And farmers are willing to pay for representation and they want to be activists about some of the issues that they actually face. But the current model doesn't actually allow that connection and them to feel that. So I think it's important that we have a model that can connect much more closely with the farmers on the ground.
Just to ask you to crystal ball as much as you can, you've been involved in the process now for some time. You've got more than 80 representative bodies out there. What's it likely to look like when this process is complete?
Well, what the report recommends is a unified body, and that would be a body that has probably one big federal body with one core administrative staff and then a number of state branches and potentially commodity groups and branches as well. Of course, it's all up for debate. It's all open for discussion. But I think what the report recognises is that there's a huge amount of duplication currently in our representational system. There are a lot of administrative groups that are duplicating each other, and I think there's a lot of process that duplicate each other as well. And these days, you know, we do need to streamline our voice. And we also need to strengthen our voice. We need to be a voice that government listens to again. We need to make sure that not only the people who are currently in the model are part of that model, but also people who aren't. We need to capture all the farmers, and clearly that comes through very strongly in the model as well.